Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the virtual breakfast sessions. I'm Larry Sashin, and today we have a great panel to discuss a very, very important topic uh, death by a thousand costs, how restaurants bleed out. But before we do that, I'm going to speak about our sponsors, people who have dedicated their lives to make sure that doesn't happen to your restaurant. The Era Group and Ed Flanagan. Hey, if you're paying for things and you don't know what you're paying for and you think you're getting shorted, or you're not quite sure that you're getting exactly what you paid for, call Ed Flanagan and the Error Group. Their people will sift through your invoices. They will sift through your contracts. They will claw you back the money that you've overpaid. And if they think they can do better with another contractor, they will suggest it to you. And it's all the only money you pay them is out of what they grab back for you. So if you're got any doubts of what you're paying for, call Ed Flanagan and the Era Group. Now back to our show. Death by a thousand costs. You know, restaurants cause a lot of pay a lot of money out every single day, and Peter's shaking his head already.
Oh,
Peter's shaking his head. It is a very, very ticklish subject right now because margins have gotten so tight. But before we go into the show, let's go around the room and everybody say hello. Peter, why don't you start?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Peter Herrero, founder and president of New York Hospitality Group. We are a 93-year-old restaurant, a bistro bar and banquet facility. We have 4 healthy cafes and hospitals, and a barbecue catering company and an off-premise catering company.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. And you don't look that old. But
Not bad for 93.
yeah, pretty good. Guy, say hi.
Good morning, Guy Salas with Vision Financial Strategists. We are a fractional CFO and cost control leadership firm for food and beverage and retail companies, navigating margin pressure, growth, and working capital demands. Essentially, we're where vision meets financial precision.
Yes, yes. A long, long time ago when Peter was on the show, we talked about measuring things, and Peter taught me the phrase, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Well, Peter, why don't you go into that and explain what you were talking about?
The hard thing and I'm going to say everyone in hospitality, we love what we do, and it gives us so much pride, and we can make a decent living. The last 10 years have been brutal. But when we're working on stuff, yeah, my food cost, my utilities, my occupancy costs, they're all line items. They're direct line items. But if you bundle them together, it's really hard just to focus in. I'm going to pick on something no one talks about: utilities or taxes. Food costs we talk about, but do we talk about, center of plate? Do we talk about the dessert category? You got to break out all your categories and make a decision. You say, listen, it's my specialty dish. I'm okay with the 39%. Okay, then where are you going to make it up? There's give and take. The problem is we love what we do, and that's great. But we shouldn't have to pay for what we love to do. So it gives you, it's like driving a car without a compass, without a tire gauge, without a gas tank meter. You can't. You got to know where you're going and how you're going to get there.
Okay, okay, Guy, talk about your days at the Rainbow Room when you used to know the cost of every single thing that went on a plate.
The Rainbow Room differs from modern day restaurants in that there was tremendous focus on process, procedures, and systems and controls. Nothing got on a menu without being costed. We knew what it cost for every ingredient to hit the plate. Our inventory control systems were such that the rotation created efficiencies in keeping costs low that were hitting the plate. If you leave something in the refrigerator too long, lettuce, every day you hold it, it costs more to get to the plate. Part of the problem is, as chefs, having been one, we know it. but we don't. Cost control is a living process and procedure system. It has to be alive and happening in your business daily. Restaurants can't always afford to have a controller, so they need to get somebody that can do it, or the chef has to be religious about it. It can't be something that's left later. I want to increase prices, may add 5 cents to every dish, or 25 cents. You cannot make profit without understanding what's driving your numbers. And a P&L created that won't lie. If it's not garbage in, garbage out, the problem is a 32% food cost means nothing if you don't understand what's on both sides of that number driving it. That's the support restaurants need to really drive the profitability in their business. We've gotten to a point in this industry where we're taking so many shortcuts off gut, and then technology came in as your solution. It's not. It's a tool that has to be managed by people to get to a solution. I have a soapbox on this. You don't want to get me wound up on this.
So do you guys think that the Cisco Restaurant Depot deal last week, do you think that brings this into focus again, where people start thinking about, hey, what am I paying and who am I buying from?
I think Restaurant Depot, you have to be very careful. It's like when you go to Costco yourself as an independent consumer, right? The prices are good. They're in bulk quantities. But if you don't really understand what it's costing to get to the plate, it's irrelevant. And I think Cisco's could adversely impact the industry with the purchase of the Restaurant Depot, because they're part of a bigger conglomerate with a different mission than Restaurant Depot initially was created with. And that concerns me, because if they treat it as a big conglomerate and they get away from supporting independence as a real focus, it could wind up pricing.
Yeah.
Except that markets tend to find themselves, and that somebody else will go into the space and provide that type of space.
And to your point, but to your point, Fred, the details, how they're going to run this, is going to make all the difference. That's why I don't have much of an opinion right now. It could be great for the small operator, because Restaurant Depot has the power to do things now that it didn't before. And honestly, I'm going to say, I don't know the percentages. Guy, you probably do. How many of us really do Restaurant Depot? I don't think we do 1% of our purchases through Restaurant Depot.
Obviously, $29 billion worth of Restaurant Depot customers are out there. So
the majority of, having been with the SBDC opening restaurants and financial planning, the majority of independent small businesses opening, especially in the first 3 years, have a huge dependence on Restaurant Depot, because you can't necessarily pay. Cisco's terms are very restrictive in payment terms. So, and these bigger companies have the same thing. So Costco, Restaurant Depot, they're very important to the small business. And if Cisco doesn't maintain that relationship and starts to increase prices, it could have an adverse impact on independents and small businesses.
Okay, guys, we're getting off the subject here. We love Cisco. The deal is, we could be another show.
Larry, all I was trying to do is bring out a point that I think that it's going to make people, we're talking about, are people paying attention to? You talked about Peter measuring everything. So the point is something like this going to get people to take a little harder look at what it is they're paying for things? That's all I was trying to inject with that.
I don't think so, Fred. I think what's going to happen is it's the same story. Just, I need the product, get the product here. Okay. And Restaurant Depot has terms I can afford, therefore that's where I'm going to get it from. But we're not doing the necessary steps behind that, the costing of the recipe, the menu engineering. Right. Where does that item fall in the sales mix? Just you can adjust. One of the things at Rainbow that I did was I had the menu practically on the wall, and every day we wrote down what sold week to date, month to date, and we had the margin contribution, so we could understand if things moved, how they need to be thought through and maybe changed on the menu location to drive the bottom line profitability on margin.
But to your point, Larry, I don't think and gentlemen, you know better than I do, we have to take a look at every single line item on our P&Ls, not just on the P&L side, but also on the sales side. The day of the week. Is it lunch? Is it dinner? I got to tell you, we all talk about food and beverage, and I think most of us do a decent job, but there's so many other parts to our P&L. Like I say, if it's working out a deal with your landlord, if it's cash flow, if it's right now, to your point before, Larry, our industry is under attack. Our bottom line is because liquor sales are down 10 to 12 to 13%, which gave us an 80% bottom line on that. Food, I'm sorry, God, I love food. I live on food. But my food doesn't give me an 80%
Peter,
gross profit.
Why has there not been a greater adoption of the mocktail, which has greater profit potentiality in many cases than does a bar, alcohol drinks?
Because depending on how you look at the equation, and Larry, cut me off because we're going off on a tangent.
No, this isn't a tangent.
Okay, huh?
This isn't a tangent.
Okay, we have, but we've had the seltzers, little mint, cucumber, and lime in a seltzer, delicious. It's $8. It doesn't cost 15% to make, but you can only drink so many of those, and that's $8, not $8 to $20 for a drink.
So I am going to jump in on this one.
Sure.
That also has to do with the demographics of your restaurant.
That's right.
Well,
if Peter, you had a room full of 30-somethings, guys' suggestion would be all over your restaurant.
Yes.
Your people are multiples of 30, and including me. So, it's not a mocktail type of thing. And I just think that is the end all with that.
I don't think mocktails are the answer. No. I think the answer is diversifying. But
it's one of them.
It's being open to many different ideas, and restaurants aren't that. I open this restaurant place. My wife makes a great pasta sauce. I'm opening an Italian restaurant, and that's what I am. We start to cook for what we want to sell, not what the customer wants to buy. And same with the bar. The bar, older people will drink it if it's upsold, but we don't train people to upsell. You get a new waiter, follow that person. They'll train you. There's no proper training to upsell, and we need to do that. You can't complain your labor cost is high just because it shows on a P&L is high if you're not managing the labor to get the return on the investment. And that's what happens in our industry. We put things out there, but we don't manage it. We let it happen. And so like a telephone game with training, the further you get from the real core of your training, the further the results are from what you want to achieve.
Right.
This industry is as much as technology can help, it's a people business, and it has to be managed by people that are trained and are all on the same page for the desired outcome of the global company.
But Guy, you're spot on. The hard part is, and I'm just started this, okay?
Yeah.
With AI, I just started this. I got to tell you, we were working on a project that would have been 3-4 hours, 10 minutes, doing a comp set of Westchester, upscaled Westchester bistro, bar, and banquet facilities. We put in our menu. It was 15 minutes. Well, you're a little high here, a little low here. If you change this, I couldn't believe it. The great thing about our business, we can use a little bit of everything, but you're spot on. But I'll challenge you both. We have to be careful. We are selling the wrong product in the wrong environment to the wrong people. And what I mean by that is we keep saying, to Guy's point, well, this is what I've done for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it is. But the demographics have literally accelerated because of COVID. And there's 7 different reasons why alcohol or change is happening. The baby boomers are aging out. Cannabis, price. I mean, we could keep working from home. Health concerns. Who would have thought that? Is it the American Heart Association and another association labeled alcohol poison? Oh my God!
There's also studies out there. There are also studies recently released that are showing that younger grand generations aren't necessarily drinking less in total. They're just demanding better quality, better price to return on investment pricing. And so if we're not, you can't just go. You have to understand the business. You have to understand the market, and you have to adjust for the market constantly. This business is not like selling shirts. This business is selling expendable
An experience. I love Danny Myers. How do we make you feel when you come to our location, restaurant, cafe, bar?
Our business is about selling. It's not just the food; it's entertainment, it's experience. And we don't do. So many restaurants rely on it's the same old thing as yesterday.
Yes, yes, we're selling the experience.
We've been progressive ones like yours that are actually capitalizing on the business because they are adapting and growing and changing and evolving as it needs to evolve. No, you can see those ones because they're the ones that float to the top, the cream to the top, like Danny Myers and yours.
Okay.
And stuff.
Okay, so we've been talking about the problem for the first 15 minutes. Let's start talking about some of the solutions. Talk about what people should be doing, the steps they should be taking right now in their restaurants. Peter, you have one. It was the simplest, most brilliant thing I've ever heard. Hanging out with your dishwasher.
Come on. That's an old man thing. Guy knows that one.
Well, everybody should know that one, but I don't know if everybody does it.
No, I can tell you from my experience in consulting with restaurants, I spend the majority of my time in kitchens watching what's the preparation, the production, the waste, cutting waste, what's coming back, what the dishwashers are running from. How many people know what it costs per cover to wash dishes? How do they measure the chemical cost? At Waldorf, we knew exactly what the cost per cover was by restaurant for cleaning. It's important because we bleed pennies. That's where our profitability is in this business. It's not in the big ticket item. It's in the pennies that are floating away everywhere in the restaurant. We need to train. We need to have process procedures. We need technology, but technology that's managed by people. I use AI to do financial planning, and I can tell you that the majority time I do it, when I go back in and really scrub the data, there are challenges in that data. You have to identify. You cannot depend on AI yet, but it's a good starting point, a solid starting point.
But Guy, why did you go back and redo it and redo it and redo it? Because AI made you.
No. AI didn't make me do a thing. As a matter of fact, I'm very cautious with AI because AI has so many nuanced troubles in there.
Yes.
Including circular formulas and stuff that you really have to audit. AI sets up AI is good because it sets up a platform. Like the analysis you use is outstanding for. When you get into financials, it sets up a platform, but you still have to have the understanding of the data, how the data relates to the operation, and you have to understand what supports that data. It's like hiring an accountant that works on restaurants. They can give you a 32% food cost, but they have no freaking idea what's driving that number. But they've never been in a kitchen.
Fred, if I may,
yes,
to our point, to Guys and my point, I find it very difficult at times to find comparables. So for the cafe, for a barbecue catering company, an on-premise catering company, an off in the Northeast, in a suburban, it takes me a while to find regional. Any suggestions for everyone listening?
On a quick side point, Peter, I used to have to do that for Rainbow Room Windows in the World manually. I would scour the city, collecting menus, going to restaurants, dining out. I ate out for 6 nights a week, and collect the menus, go back, and I had these spreadsheets that were 2,000 columns wide, doing comparables and comparing and noting differences. But it's also how I got them. It's also how I was able to find really top talent.
There are a couple of what I would call forensic accounting firms in this industry that just focus on restaurants and food service. Happy to provide them.
That'd be great, because it's really nice to know what the averages are. And I'm being careful. I know you're still there, Guy. You got to be careful with the averages because every location is different. You have a highly efficient building. You're in a neighborhood. You're next to a train. But I got to tell you, those industry standards really help kind of tell you.
Even the plating is different. Hamburger to hamburger is different. So when you do the comparable, you got to be careful. Fred, I'd like that list also.
Sure.
Yes, I knew you would, Guy.
Okay, guys. In the next 10 minutes, let's talk about 3 things that anybody that's listening to this right now can do. 3 things. Okay. Peter, you go first. What's something that people should be doing?
I would say it's not sexy, but you really got to scrub your P&L. And what I mean by the P&L, I mean the whole thing. 9 years ago, because our utilities were out of control, and we got into, and it was brutal. It took me 18 months to get to know our utilities, everything from water, electricity, gas, when we use it, how we use it, what lights we were using, what motors, variable speed motors. There's so much money out there that operators of all types of hospitality companies can find to change their lights to LED, all their refrigeration to variable speed motors, painting their roofs white. Don't laugh. We have it cost me $150 to put a spigot on my roof with 2 sprinklers. When it gets to 90 degrees at 11 o'clock in the morning, the office manager goes on, opens up. It's an old ball joint. She puts her timer on for 5-10 minutes. It hits the roof. The compressors lowers the head pressure tremendously. Same thing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Our bills were over $190,000, $195,000 in 2019. Last year, we're up 42% on-premise business from 2019. Yes, a lot of it is price, but a lot of it is covers. We are down we're up 42%. We're down 45% in our utility costs. We're saving $80,000 a year. It's not sexy, but you really got to look at everything: your deductibles, how you use things, your hours.
Didn't you bring Con Ed in?
Oh yeah, they pay for half of it.
Right, and but you called them and brought them in.
I called them and brought them in. If anybody wants to call me, it's a brutal process. It's brutal. Yeah. They have 5 different silos all over the place. They don't talk to each other. I don't even know if they like each other. But so line by line, you got to get flexible. You may have to cut back your hours. But the guy's point, you got to know you got to train your staff. You may have to limit your menus, but it's the experience that you're doing. You may have to get into pickup business and different types of business, but the cost of labor is up 50% for caterers. It used to be in the low 20s. When I give you a bill now, it's in the low 30s. And I hope none of my customers are listening, but I got to tell you, in the last 7 years, we've evolved. I don't think the service is any better, and my clients are paying 40% more. And we have checklists and training. But Guy, I got waiters making $90,000. Yeah, do you really need me today?
Yeah.
Your shift starts in a half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I got an opportunity to go someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you where you can go, but I can't. So I'm going to say the food and beverage is big, but to Guy's point before, the non-alcoholic can be really big. Your happy hour and lunch for retirees can be huge. They're having dinner there. So there's some strange places. Yeah. They're looking for good juice, not necessarily great wine at $16 to $18. They don't want to spend that kind of money. Is it good? Is it good juice with good food at 12, 10, 12? There's opportunities out there, but you just got to scrub every single friggin' line.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Guy, number 2.
I have 3 topics. One big one: financial literacy at all levels needs to be improved. You need to get the different people at different levels in your organization involved in understanding their influence on the different line items in a P&L. For instance, the dishwasher knows better than anybody what's going on with chemical, why the chemical costs are high. They're running pots and pans to the dish machine. It's like everything, all these things affect it. They need to understand, to become literate with the P&L, cost control, and most importantly, understanding of cash flow and burn rate. Most restaurants do not understand how much cash they have and how long that cash will last. Training. We lost the professional waiter, and we lost it for a couple of reasons. I think one important one is we don't train people to be professional waiters anymore. a really good waiter has better income than most of the management team in a restaurant. So it's a shame that we're losing that. And then integration of human capital to technology, with the understanding that technology is a great tool, but it is not a solution. It has to be managed by humans, and the data needs to be audited, checked, and involved. We need to be involved. We can't pull back from this. This is a hands-on business. It is not sitting in an office selling shirts over the internet. This is completely hands-on to manage all the nuances. Because most of the things we buy have a declining yield and an increased cost hitting the plate every day you hold it.
Okay.
If I may, Larry, I
Okay,
forgot
last one.
one quick one. I will tell you, we've had so many great conversations with our vendors. And the question really is, are you a vendor or are you going to be a trusted advisor? I know
Very
you
good point.
want to, I know you need to be profitable. I respect that. So do I. How do we work it out? You'd be surprised. Your vendors are a wealth of knowledge. Our coffee company repackaged their coffee. It's sexy. Oh, it's beautiful. It was a 12-ounce or 1-pound bag. I looked at the guy because no one sees the bag. Okay, get a big brown bag. Give me a 5-pounder with a sticker on it. This was last year when coffee went up 33%. I said, if you're going to treat me like a vendor, excuse me, next. If you're a trusted advisor, do you know we brought down a 33% increase to 5% by going 1-pounders to 5-pounders and 12 ounces to kilo bags, 2.2. Talk to your vendors. Help them be profitable.
Peter, I think part of the problem with the vendor.
The vendor's going through the same thing you're going through with training a wait staff. He can't train a salesperson or a sale to go out anymore to be able to look creatively at your menu.
For free.
Yeah. But Fred, I think it's more than that. I think the problem, at the core of the problem is the restaurant's relationship with the vendor. They treat these people as friends. They're not friends. They're associates. You stop dealing. When I was with Rainbow Room and Windows, I would slow down on vendors to force the pricing back down. You have 3 seafood vendors you're bidding with. This one gets most of the bid always, but the prices go up. So slow down on them. Their prices will come down. You need to manage them. They're not your friends. They're not people that even really care about you unless they are advisors to you, in which case they have a different relationship, but they're still a vendor. And they need to be treated as a vendor and managed as a vendor, not as a friend.
Okay. Tough mindset.
But on that note, our biggest enemy is approaching. Time is always our enemy on this show. We can go on for hours, but that's not what the clock says. So before we go into that last little tidbit of information you're going to leave people, let me thank the people who are paying the bills today. Ed Flanagan and the Error Group. Listen, you've just heard a half hour of how you have to save money. If you don't have time to go through those invoices or those contracts like you've just been told to do, call Ed Flanagan and the Error Group. And the Error Group, these people, this is their time. This is what they do every day, day in, day out. They sift through those papers that you have no time to do, and they claw back that money for you. So if you're thinking about saving money and you don't have the time, call Ed Flanagan and the Error Group. Oh, great. Guys, this has been a great show. I love shows, but the only thing I have to do is be a traffic cop and stop the information from flowing. But it was wonderful. So, Guy, why don't you start and give us that last bit of information that these people need to know before they sign off?
Again, you need to understand, everybody needs to be trained to understand their influence on the financial performance of a business. They need to understand their role, and they need to understand process, procedure, systems, and be trained to manage it so that the output, your profitability, has a foundation that you can analyze. If you don't have a foundation set up, it's like stirring a pot of beans. Pick the beans you want, the rest sort of slip by. It's a great industry, but it's a hands-on industry. I really want to thank you for letting me get on my soapbox. My career has been CFO and cost control and figuring out why restaurants fail. And so this has been an opportunity. I'm really grateful for having it. And Peter, it's a really great pleasure to meet you. I hope to be in contact with you.
Likewise.
Okay. Peter.
As you can tell, I've been in the business for 50 years. I still love it. But what I would say to everybody, get help. Get help, get help, get help. Just like your body, you have a heart issue, you go to a cardiologist. You have a mind issue, you go to therapists. We need help. And I'm sorry, I don't know why our industry is so insulated. I think it's been 6 years. I had a friend who just sold his restaurant. I didn't realize he sold his restaurant 5 years ago. I haven't reached out to people. It's reach out, talk to your trusted vendors, get a trusted advisors, get a new vendor if they're not adding more than just product. I agree with Guy. You're a vendor, you're replaceable, and I'm going to beat you up. You and me are going into the ring, hand to hand, MMA combat. But what I love about MMA, it's 7-10 different disciplines. We need to learn if it's the catering association, if it's the restaurant association, if it's total food service, we need advisors and help. And I feel so often that we serve the public socially, but we don't serve ourselves. When was the last time you sat down with a caterer, a restaurateur, somebody not in our sector, but in a different sector? I'm learning so much listening to the new kids coming through. They're like, we don't do that anymore. If we're not making money, we're not selling it. So my advice is get out there because you don't know what you don't know.
Thank you, Peter.
It's really, just quickly, Larry, it's really important that we marry the art and the business. They have to come together, not like the old days where finance was polar and culinary was polar. They have to work together like the gears in the back of a watch for restaurants today to be successful. There's too many details out there that have to be managed, and you need the knowledge of both sides, the art and the business, to really accomplish the goal.
Okay. Fred, what do you think?
I want to thank both these guys. A wealth of knowledge. I think there's 30-something weeks left in the year. I think you make a list of your 30 top vendors. I think you bring each one of them in, and I think you say to them, what can you do to help me and my team be more impactful to create a better and more profitable dining experience and a memorable dining experience? And I think everything will take care of itself. So whether it's Con Ed first or wherever you start, I think you start with a very short list of vendors and you start working your way through.
And in relation to your sponsor, it's very important to be very cautious about entering into cost plus arrangements unless you can manage the base of that cost plus. And that's something that Ed Flanagan's group does very well, is they manage that base so you know that your cost plus is a true cost plus basis. And they manage the savings for you.
Ed, well, thank you. Okay. What a show. What a show. And I just want to make one analogy here. And you could liken your restaurant going 90 miles an hour on Route 95. You got a late appointment, you go in and you're driving as fast as you can, which you do every day in your restaurant. And you drop something and you look down at the floor of your car to see if you can pick it up, and not realizing that you've just gone 150 yards. And what could happen in that 150 yards that you weren't watching? Same thing with your P&L. Same thing in your P&L. It's just a penny here, a penny there, a penny here, a penny here. Those pennies are the difference between staying open and suffering or closing. So do what they said. Pay attention. Call your vendors. Call Con Ed. Call anybody you can get information from. But just get active in your business. Not just serving, but fixing and making sure your business is healthy. We're going to be back, actually, not next week. We're going to be back tomorrow recording again, where we're starting our new series, our education series. We're going to be doing the culinary education leaders from now on every week. And you should look for it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. But until tomorrow, I only have two things to say. Everybody, stay positive, test negative, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a great summer.